against the rebels. Whatever action you take, will stand with you. But that message also need to go out to the cadre, and that's exactly right.
No.
You know, at 5 p.m. when the meeting will begin, the MLAs will take place, will take part, the MPs will
Yes.
take part, and then
Yes.
what is the message of Sharad Pawar to the cadre of the NCP? That will
That's going to be a very interesting development to watch out for. It is a very fast-moving story with massive twists and massive turns, and we're reporting every second of it, giving you up to speed, getting you up to speed with the development, with a massive war over the rebels as well that is erupted amidst this high-voltage drama that you are currently seeing in Maharashtra. Now, two Uddhav Sena MLAs. You've got Kailash Patil and Nitin Deshmukh. They returned to Mumbai today from Guwahati, claiming that they were kidnapped by the Shinde camp and forcefully taken to Surat. Patil claimed he was trapped and taken to Surat, and he also walked a kilometer to run away from there. Deshmukh made a sensational and stunning claim, saying that he was injected with something and he was surrounded by 50 cops when he came into consciousness. However, you've got Shinde Sena quick to counter Uddhav Sena's claim, releasing this picture. And that picture, let's bring that on your screens, it's there, showing both Kailash Patil and Nitin Deshmukh are all smiles with their rebel leader Eknath Shinde. So this is a counter coming in from the Shinde Sena right now. Both of the rebel MLAs who have now returned were also seen signing a letter of support to Shinde yesterday. Raut, that is Sanjay Raut, in the middle of all of this mess, now has however claimed that he is now in touch with 21 rebel MLAs and they all want to return to the Uddhav fold. That is what Sanjay Raut has claimed for the moment.
आमच्या सहकार्याने सांगितलं की आपल्याला एक ठिकाणी जायचंय, जशी आपल्याला साहेब भेटणार आहेत असं म्हणून आम्हाला मला आणि बाकीच्या काही सहकार्यांना ठाण्याच्या महापौर बंगल्यावर नेलं गेलं असं समजून आम्ही चालत होतो. पण नंतर ठाणे गेलं, ठाण्यानंतर वसई विरार, आता मला त्या एरियातलं जेवढं काही माहिती नाही, पण शहरं संपत गेली आणि पुढं जसं जसं जाईल तसं माझ्या लक्षात यायला काहीतरी वेगळं होतंय. या दरम्यान मी ज्यावेळेस मी गाडीतून पहिल्यांदा उतरलो त्यावेळेस मी आमचे मान्य पक्षप्रमुखांची संपर्क साधला, उद्धवजींशी संपर्क साधला, त्यांना सांगितलं की मी उतरलोय आणि निघालोय. त्याचबरोबर आमच्या खासदारांची मी संपर्कात होतो. माझी बॅटरी एक 7-8% राहिली होती, त्यामुळे मी लाईव्ह लोकेशन किंवा बाकीच्या गोष्टी शेअर करू शकत नव्हते, कारण बॅटरी कधी म्हणजे माझा मोबाईल डिस्चार्ज होऊ शकत होता. तो बिचारी उत्तर प्रदेशची होती, अनोळखी होती. खरं तर ते मला त्यावेळेस देवदूत म्हणूनच भेटले. मला मी त्यांच्यावर एक स्वतः उतरल्यानंतर सेल्फी सुद्धा काढला. मी त्यांना सांगितलं मी कोण आहे, फक्त मी त्यांना एवढं सांगितलं की मी अडचणीत आहे, मला तुम्ही मुंबई स्टेशन घेऊन जावा.
6:30च्या दरम्यान 15 ते 20 जणांनी कोणी माझी कंबर पकडली, कोणी माझे पाय पकडले, कोणी माझे हात पकडले, कोणी केसाची मान पकडली आणि एका जणांनी माझ्या दंडामध्ये जोराने इंजेक्शन टोचलं. ज्यावेळेस मला इंजेक्शन टोचलं त्यावेळेस अक्षरशः मला खरोखर लळ आला होता की आपल्या मागं आपली मुलगी आहे, आपला मुलगा आहे, माझी पत्नी आहे, यांनी कोणत्या प्रकारचं आपल्याला इंजेक्शन टोचलं, कोणत्या प्रकारचं काय टोचलं. मला थोडासा तिथं लळ आला, मी अक्षरशः लढलो सुद्धा. आणि मग मला लक्षात आलं की आपला अटॅकच्या नावाखाली आपला कुठंतरी घातपात करणार आहेत आणि इंजेक्शन दिल्यानंतर मला गुंगी आली आणि अशा ठिकाणी नेलं की तिथं हॉस्पिटलमध्ये एक रूम होती, तिथं 50 पोलीस बंदोबस्त माझ्यासाठी होता, IPS अधिकारी सुद्धा होते. म्हणजे किती ह्या मांग कशा पद्धतीनं कट कारस्थान भारतीय जनता पार्टी रचत आहे त्याचं प्रत्यक्ष उदाहरण त्या दिवशी मी पाहिलं.
Ashutosh Mishra is joining us with the very latest. Ashutosh, you heard Nitin Deshmukh right there going on to say, Mazavar injection thokla. That means he was injected with something and then he became unconscious. But if that is really the case, then why was there no FIR registered? And correct me if I'm wrong, was there an FIR registered?
Well, what you asked, the question itself has the answer. And of course, in politics, can you expect really such this level of innocence from the politician that I was injected and forcefully taken? Of course, there was some conflict of interest that forced the MLAs to go. And of course, there is some interest that is bringing them back. Without interest in politics, never such decisions are taking place. There is no free lunch in politics, clearly. But what is happening here, we're only seeing the, the war of the optics, the war who controls the power, because more than the government, now who holds the control over Sena? It is the Thackeray Sena or the Shinde Sena. The entire battle is now lying between that. And that's exactly why they all are now expecting Sharad Pawar to play a critical role. But what we know and what we have seen, what we have heard Sharad Pawar day before yesterday, that it is the internal affair, it is the internal game of the Shiv Sena, and they have to deal with it. The moment Sharad Pawar day before yesterday said it, the picture was quite clear that what is happening in this entire Mahavikas Aghadi alliance coalition. When the as tall leader
but
as
Sharad Pawar going on to say this is the internal matter of Shiv Sena, but you are an ally of the Shiv Sena in the Mahavikas Aghadi government. How can that not be your problem?
Well, that's exactly what we have been asking to Sharad Pawar. But when he hints something like that, it is internal affair of Shiv Sena, that gives a picture that this time Sharad Pawar may not play as critical and as crucial role as he played last time when Ajit Pawar sided with the Devendra Fadnavis and they formed the government early in the morning that day, the historic day. One could remember there were two slogans very iconic from Maharashtra, will be remembered for the decades. The one, coined by Sanjay Raut, the CM to Shiv Sena ka hi hoga, and another from Devendra Fadnavis, that me punha yahin. So that was Shiv Sena ka CM hoga versus me punha yahin. But it is what is happening. Sharad Pawar has gone totally silent where he is meeting people. But again, you cannot call the Shiv Sena MLAs in Guwahati and ask them to come back. Remember last time when Sharad Pawar played crucial role, that was the rebel by the NCP, and Sharad Pawar had the stature that when he says something, the MLAs would listen to him and they all came back. Imagine. And the problem that what we need to think is that why this is not the similar case with Shiv Sena, that Uddhav Thackeray is calling their MLAs or the senior leaders from the Sena calling their MLAs, that they're not ready to listen to him. That's exactly where the problem is, and that is exactly the internal mess. You heard the MLAs in the letter saying that you were totally inaccessible. Whenever the MLAs wanted to meet the leader, the top leader of the party, the gates were always shut down, the gates were always closed. Then the
Ashutosh, what a blast from the past that is. You remember last time around when Sanjay Raut ended up saying that Mukhyamantri to Shiv Sena ka hi hoga, and Devendra Fadnavis going on to say me punha yehil, and that is exactly the script that is playing out yet again in Maharashtra. This is 2.0 of the same script that is getting played out. Let me also take this across to Vidya, who's joining us from the Sena Bhavan. Vidya, Shiv Sena Karyakartas, are they scrambling? Leaders, are they in a huddle? What is going on right there at Sena Bhavan right now? Of course, optically they will show that they have all the numbers and the strength and, everybody is with them. But in actuality, you're there at ground zero. What is the sentiment you're picking up?
Well, Chaiti, if I can just add to the query that you have, actually I am not at Shiv Sena Bhavan, I'm back at Matoshree. But the sentiments of the Shiv Sainiks remains the same, be it at Shiv Sena Bhavan or at Matoshree, where quite a few of the Shiv Sainiks have collected. Well, most of them say that, it is the Thackeray's who matter. It's not the MLAs, the chosen ones who have been elected and who have gone all the way to Guwahati. So at this moment, the emotions are extremely high, especially in Mumbai. We are not talking entirely about the Shiv Sainiks across Maharashtra, because of course in Thane the sentiments are slightly different of the Shiv Sainiks when they feel that Eknath Shinde, what he has done is right. So at this juncture in Mumbai, the sentiments of the Shiv Sainiks remain that what this Eknath Shinde and all these people have done is not right. They should have had a conversation with Thackeray's before leaving and going to Surat and Guwahati. They should not have left the land without having a conversation, putting across their grievances. They should have done that before going to any other place, is something what most Shiv Sainiks do.
Absolutely. And Vidya, one question offline that I would definitely want to take with you is your mode of transport, because you've just been shuttling between Shiv Sena Bhavan in Dadar to Matoshree in Bandra in like minutes. I want to know the mode of transport, but I'll take that offline with you as well. Now, the Maharashtra power tussle has escalated further. The Eknath Shinde clan is continuing to gain momentum and grow in strength, inching closer to bringing down the Maharashtra government. The numbers of Shinde Sena are just swelling up as former Maharashtra MLAs have joined the rebel faction and they've landed in Guwahati. The presence of 35 direct Sena rebels, including Eknath Shinde and 7 independent MLAs, was witnessed at the Radisson Blue Hotel in Guwahati. In a fresh video that has come out from Guwahati, the rebel Maharashtra MLAs, including Eknath Shinde, were sitting together raising slogans, and I quote unquote, "Shinde sahab tum aage badho, hum tumhare saath hai." This clearly states that Uddhav Sena is left with the support of just 13 MLAs, including Aditya Thackeray. Aditya Thackeray, the son of Uddhav Thackeray, the Chief Minister. Meanwhile, Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut has claimed that 21 rebel MLAs are in touch with the party, which is the Uddhav Sena when we say the party. Because now there is an Uddhav Sena and there is a Shinde Sena. So now Sanjay Raut is saying that 21 of the rebel MLAs are in touch with the Uddhav Sena. And now they wish to return back to the Uddhav fold. And during a press conference, Shiv Sena MLA Kailash Patil and Nitin Deshmukh also claimed that they were forcibly taken to the resort in Gujarat's Surat. But there has been a counter to that coming in from the Shinde camp as well. We'll come to that in just moments from now.
त्यात गुवाहाटीमध्ये अडकलेले जे आमदार आहेत त्यांनी मुंबईत येऊन बोलावं आणि त्यानंतर त्यांच्या भावना व्यक्त केल्यानंतर त्या बाबतीत त्यांची पावलं पडतील असं सुतोवाच केलेलं आहे. पाहू.
पण हे वाक्य आपल्याला किंवा ही भूमिका आपल्याला योग्य वाटते का? मित्रपक्षांची चर्चा न करता किंवा आपल्याला थेट माध्यमातून हे कळणं की जर असं झालं तर ते सरकारमधून बाहेर पडू शकतात, मुख्यमंत्री राजीनामा देऊ शकतात.
नाही, आता जे गुवाहाटीला गेलेले आहेत त्यांनी उद्धव ठाकरे यांचा पाठिंबा काढून घेतलेला नाही. त्यांनी कोणतेही पक्ष सोडण्याचं विधानही केलेलं नाही. त्यामुळं गुवाहाटीहून ते मुंबईला आले की त्यांची बैठक जर होत असेल आणि त्यांनी पक्षाच्या अंतर्गत चर्चा केली तर त्यानंतर पाहू. त्यावर आज भाष्य करणं आवश्यक आहे असं मला वाटतं.
संजय राऊतांच्या वक्तव्यावरती काँग्रेसनं नाराजी व्यक्त केलेली आहे. आम्ही विरोधी बाकावरती बसण्यास तयार आहोत असंही नाना पटोले यांचं म्हणणं आहे.
आलोक दादा पीछे आइए, इधर आ जाओ, छोड़ इधर आ जाओ. 30 सेकंड important.
All right, you know, we've got that live reaction coming in and more live reactions will continue to pour in as this entire Maharashtra political crisis is deepening. In fact, now let's also listen in to what Sanjay Raut had to say. Play that out for you, right?
ते त्यातले एक जण सुरतवरून आलेले आहेत आणि दुसरे गुवाहाटीवरून आलेले आणि इथे येताना त्यांना जो संघर्ष करावा लागला, विरुद्ध करावं लागलं, ती जोखीम पत्करावी लागली, ती संपूर्ण कहाणी थरारक आणि रोमांचक आहे. कोणत्या पद्धतीनं शिवसेनेच्या आमदारांना अपहरण करून फसवून आपल्या कब्जात भाजपने नेलंय. मी उल्लेख फक्त भाजपचाच करतोय. नेलं आणि गुलाम बनवण्याचा प्रयत्न सुरू आहे. त्यानिमित्तानं सांगतोय की त्यांच्या ताब्यातल्या 21 आमदारांचा संपर्क आमच्याशी झालेला आहे. कोणी किती फोटो आणि व्हिडिओ इथे पाठवावेत, पत्ते खेळताना, जेवताना, खाताना, पिताना, पण ज्या दिवशी ते मुंबईला येतील त्या दिवशी त्यातले 21 आमदार हे शिवसेनेचे असतील. या सगळ्यांशी माननीय उद्धव ठाकरे यांच्याशी व्यवस्थित संपर्काने चर्चा झालेली आहे.
Okay, Vidya and Ashutosh are both joining us for the very latest. I want to take this across state to Ashutosh with the Maharashtra political crisis deepening. And, you know, Sanjay Raut just said that we have the support of 21 MLAs right now. Ashutosh, you've got the Shinde camps showing, you know, their strength, and just see the pro-Shinde slogans chanted, and all that is on our screens at the moment. What are the possible scenarios at this point of time that you feel are going to pan out in Maharashtra with the numbers and the house strength, because it all comes down to the numbers at the end of the day?
Absolutely, but moreover, the statements that, you know, within the alliance leaders are being made, that is also creating a trouble for the MVA alliance. Like what Sanjay Raut said, that if the MLAs want the Shiv Sena to be out of the alliance, they should come here and speak to the Thackeray. So just responding to that, right behind me is Jayant Patil, the NCP leader and the minister in Maharashtra government, who just arrived here because 5 o'clock there's going to be a crucial meeting by Sharad Pawar. So as far as number is concerned, unless the more than 35 numbers, the required number that Eknath Shinde has, and then the first other possibilities to out that whether he gonna merge the legislative party. First claim that he is the legislative leader in the house and he has the majority and there is no anti-defection law applicable. Then in that circumstance, whether he gonna parade out his MLAs to the governor, and in that case, whether he gonna merge his party with the BJP or gonna extend support to the BJP. But for that, no confident motion has to be moved. We know the governor is already ill. There is also a strong buzz that Goa governor could be given the additional charge of Maharashtra governor. Subsequently, there was also very strong buzz that all these MLAs from Surat who have taken to Guwahati will be taken back to Goa. So there are a lot of the buzz around in Maharashtra's politics, but clearly everyone is telling the number. Remember, this could have possibly had happened if there is really confident Eknath Shinde that he has the number more than it is required. Of course, he is also getting support from the independents, but until just to negate the anti-defection law, he needs the required number, and that's what he's claiming, that he's getting the number. And as we speak today, even 3 more MLAs registered themselves and signing the papers there in Guwahati, but 2 of them came back. Of course, not those 3 went today. So clearly, he's getting. As we speak, you never know that when there are going to be more MLAs joining Eknath Shinde camp, or if there is someone really coming back.
And all that he needs to do is hand over the list of supporters to the governor. All that he needs to do when he has the required numbers is hand down that particular list with the sign of the supporters to the governor. That's it.
But that need to be done by Eknath Shinde, because if he claims that he has support and he need to be declared a separate party, or he holds the key of the Shiv Sena in the assembly, then he has to go to the governor, not Uddhav Thackeray. Unless governor summons, or there is no confidential moved, or governor summons. So unless the matter goes to someone who claims that he has the control, has to give the number with the list, with the tally, and parade out to the governor. Now, who will do that, whether it is Uddhav Thackeray or Eknath Shinde, that's a matter of time. But before that, every crucial meeting that is taking place is all about to convincing the rebels. For the another, it is challenge to get the number and be very sure that when there is
this looks like in that particular likely scenario, more than Uddhav Thackeray, it looks like it is going to be Eknath Shinde, who perhaps will be seeking an appointment with the governor with his sea of supporters and submitting that particular letter signed by his supporters as well. And Vidya is right now at Matoshree as well. Matoshree, Vidya, the likelihood is that this is going to be done by Eknath Shinde, because at this point, Uddhav Thackeray is walking on eggshells, on rather thin ice. I mean, he said yesterday he might just step down if everybody wants him to step down. So will he step down, or will there now be a legal battle to know if the Shinde faction is the original Sena or not? Vidya, can you hear me?
The voice is a little low, but I just heard you, yes. Could you repeat your question?
I'm saying that it's going to be an interesting one, because when there is a possibility of somebody going to the governor to show that we have support of these many MLAs with that signed paper, the likelihood is that Eknath Shinde will do it with the kind of support that he's getting, and it doesn't look like it is going to be Uddhav doing it. So in Uddhav's case, will he then likely to step down, or will there be a legal battle to assess who is the original Sena now? What is your sense that you're picking up?
You know, a legal battle is not something that Shiv Senics have really believed in. So it's a little hard to believe that they will actually go in for a legal battle. The reason why Sanjay Raut has been
I'm sorry about that interruption. Big breaking news coming in. Mamata Banerjee has spoken out on the Maharashtra crisis, says democracy is being bulldozed in Maharashtra, adding that MLAs have been purchased through Hawala money. Latest coming in, the TMC hitting out right there, speaking out on the Maharashtra political crisis. Mamata Banerjee saying that democracy is being bulldozed in Maharashtra, adding that the MLAs have been purchased through Hawala money, and this is a big charge put out by the TMC. And there you go, you've got that reaction from Mamata Banerjee coming out. First up, breaking news on India Today on Mamata going on to say that democracy is being bulldozed in Maharashtra and that MLAs have been purchased through Hawala money. So latest coming in at this moment as far as the Maharashtra crisis is concerned. Mamata Banerjee going out there to put out this particular statement, and it's a big allegation, adding that the MLAs have been purchased through Hawala money. That is the latest coming in at the moment, going on to say that democracy is being bulldozed in Maharashtra. We'll try to get you political reactions on this. We're getting some live reactions on this. Let's listen in.
त्यामुळं कोणत्याही प्रकारे आता अजितदादांच्या नावाने काही वेगळ्या कंड्या पिटकू नका. पूर्णपणाने अजितदादा हे पवार साहेबांच्या बरोबर आहेत. कोणतीही वेगळी भूमिका
about Ajit Pawar at the moment. He is very much with Sharad Pawar. That is what he just said, that don't make speculations about Ajit Pawar. He is very much with Sharad Pawar, so do not make conjectures as far as Ajit Pawar is concerned. That was the reaction that just came out. All right, political drama unfolding right there. Ashutosh, we are getting all sides of the story. Many political reactions coming out as well. But I just want to take one moment, Ashutosh, right here to focus on what Mamata Banerjee has said. It's a huge allegation that she has put. Ashutosh, if you can hear me, she has said that MLAs are being purchased through Hawala money and that democracy is being bulldozed in Maharashtra. Also somewhere, insinuating the manner in which the BJP has tried this in other states as well, Ashutosh.
So West Bengal says she has more knowledge than us. So I think it may be true.
But the biggest thing that what Sanjay Raut said, that if MLAs wants to quit the MV alliance, they should come and speak to Uddhav Thackeray. Now, is it hurting the alliance party, what Sanjay Raut says?
Let us not be in a hurry. He has just invited them to Mumbai. And I'm sure the real Shiv Sainik who is MLA in Shiv Sena, once he lands in Maharashtra and Mumbai, he may think his opinion and go back to Mr. Uddhav Thackeray.
Are you sure any more of this government will stay and survive?
It is surviving.
But Congress has
There is
shown
no
its-
issue.
Congress has shown its
Chetty, you heard Jayant Patil that the government is very much surviving. Of course, he is supporting what Mamata Banerjee says. But clearly on the question of Sanjay Raut
Ashutosh,
that says that,
and Ashutosh, I have to give it to him, to Jayant Patil, for his confidence. When you asked him, will this government is surviving, he says, no, it is surviving. Where is the problem? I mean, it's some level of confidence when you have that show of strength.
you can't say no when there is a... Absolutely. When it is war of optics, you cannot just give up until the game is over.
Yeah,
So
what is the
that's why,
sense that you're
you
picking
play
up
the-
overall from the NCP right now, Ashutosh, on a serious note?
The message has totally gone, even the Congress as well as an NCP, Chaiti. But if there is some leader in the alliance party says that if you want to quit the alliance, then come and speak to the leader. Clearly, that somewhere annoys your partners, because so far everyone, remember, Sharad Pawar to NCP, every leader has been saying from day one that we, agree, we will support all your decisions. Even when the question was raised that if Uddhav Thackeray wants to change the chief minister, even if Shiv Sena could propose Eknath Shinde to become the chief minister, come back to the party. So that was the indication from even the Congress as well as the NCP that we stand with all your decisions. Right there, you see all these MLAs are going inside because the meeting has been called at 5 o'clock. Sharad Pawar will share the meeting with the MLAs.
I'm sure that the viewers also have these questions as much as I have. Why is the NCP not taking a proper, thorough stance as far as this issue is concerned? Because Sharad Pawar also time and again has said this is Shiv Sena ka internal mamla, let them figure it out. And, this is all internal. But you are an ally right there. You are an ally. Why aren't you interfering to make sure that you save face for the government as well? Even Jayant Patil going on to say, Acha, this Sarkar is surviving. Where is the problem? Why are they so much in denial? And why is it that they are trying to distance themselves so much from what is going on and not face the reality?
Well, we often say read between the lines, but Sharad Pawar day before yesterday was very categorical and very clear in his all answer what he says. Remember, if there is a turmoil within the NCP party, being his party supremo, he can intervene. What is happening in the Shiv Sena within, it is an alliance, it concerns him, because if there is any impact on the government, if government falls, even he will have to sit in the opposition. But particularly in one party within the alliance, if certain MLAs are rebelling against the leadership, then can can any other leader from any other party, even if it is part of the ally, can really do something? Can Sharad Pawar call up some MLAs or Shiv?
सूरत में किसकी गवर्नमेंट है आपको मालूम है। फिर उसके बाद वहां से हटाए गुवाहाटी को लेके गए। तो इससे ही आप समझिए कि ये बीजेपी सरकार का, बीजेपी का खेल है। वो तोड़ मोड़ के इस वहां के सरकार को निकालना चाहती है। महाविकास आघाड़ी एक मजबूत सरकार है और मजबूती के साथ वो चल रही है, लेकिन उसको अस्थिर करने के लिए बीजेपी हर तरह की कोशिश कर रही है। ऐसा नहीं होता कि 1-2 दिन में ही इतने लोगों को सूरत को ले जाना, वहाँ से फिर गुवाहाटी को ले जाना, फिर बुलाना, ये सारी चीज़ें जो हो रहे हैं इसमें बीजेपी का खेल है। और बीजेपी ये चाहती है कि इस देश में नॉन बीजेपी कोई भी गवर्नमेंट अस्तित्व में न रहे, ये उनका इरादा है। इसीलिए वो ये पूरी कोशिश कर रहे हैं। और दूसरा प्रश्न भी ये है कि अब प्रेसिडेंट चुनाव भी होने जा रहे हैं और उनको नंबर की भी ज़रूरत है। तो इसीलिए वो चाहते हैं कि प्रेसिडेंट इलेक्शन के अंदर ही वहाँ पर सरकार को गिराया जाए, ये उनका इरादा है। तो हम ये डायरेक्टली ये कह सकता हूँ मैं कि इसको पूरा रिस्पॉन्सिबल सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट खुद और बीजेपी इसमें हस्तक्षेप करके वहाँ के स्टेबल गवर्नमेंट को डिस्टेबलाइज करके वहाँ पर अपना सत्ता लानी चाहती है। तो मैं ज़्यादा और कुछ नहीं कहना चाहता हूँ कि एक तो प्रेसिडेंट इलेक्शन के लिए उनको नंबर के लिए वहाँ पर डिस्टेबलाइज करना चाहते हैं। दूसरा, एक महाराष्ट्र का बहुत बड़ा राज्य है जहाँ पर शिव सेना, एनसीपी और कांग्रेस तीनों मिलके वहाँ पर अपना काम कर रहे थे। तो हम कांग्रेस पार्टी की ओर से ये कहना चाहते हैं कि हम तीनों मिलके रहेंगे, मिलके लड़ेंगे और महाआघाड़ी को मजबूत करेंगे। इसके लिए हमको जो कुछ भी हमारी सहायता हो सकती है वहाँ पर करने के लिए हम तैयार हैं। तो यही नाही, आता महाराष्ट्रात जे घडामोडी चाललेल्या आहेत त्याच्या पाठीमागे बीजेपीचा हात आहे। कारण बीजेपी जर तिथल्या स्थिर सरकारला अस्थिर करण्याची प्रयत्न अगर करत नसती होती तर आज तिथले आमदार सूरतला गेले नसते किंवा सूरत पासून गुवाहाटीला गेले नसते। ह्याला कोण जिम्मेदार आहे तर बीजेपीचे सेंट्रल गव्हर्नमेंट। आणि इथले तुम्हाला माहित आहे त्यांनी अनेक सरकारे पाडली। तुम्हाला माहित आहे उत्तराखंडची सरकार कशी गेली।
You are already aware how did the Uttarakhand, what happened to the Uttarakhand government, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka. You are already aware what happened right there.
मणिपूरची सरकार
What
कशी
happened to
गेली।
Manipur government?
आणि आमचे अनेक इलेक्टेड गव्हर्नमेंट
And every elected government,
ज्या ठिकाणी मेजॉरिटी होती त्या
wherever we
ठिकाणी
had the majority.
सर्व लोक मिळून त्याला पाडण्याचा प्रयत्न।
And this is what the BJP does, is get together and try to make sure that these elected governments fall. And Maharashtra is no different.
मला हे म्हणायचं आहे की याला साऱ्या ह्या घडामोडीला कुणीतरी जबाबदार आहे तर ते भारतीय
And I want to say that if there is anybody responsible for this political crisis, it is the Bharatiya Janata Party. That is what Mallikarjun Kharge is saying in Marathi.
तिन्ही पक्षाचे लोक एक होऊन याचा मुकाबला करण्यासाठी आम्ही तयार आहोत.
We are ready to fight this battle together. We are all together.
ते एक होऊन आपण काम
We have to be one.
पूर्ण प्रयत्न करूच.
We will try our level best. We will give it our level best shot. We are one and we will take them head on.
आणखीन एक गोष्ट सांगायची आहे.
One more thing I want to tell you.
पाडवण्यात किंवा या सरकारला डिस्टेबलाइज करण्यात कारण काय आहे?
What is the reason why they want to destabilize this government?
राष्ट्रपतीचे इलेक्शन्स येत आहेत.
It is because of the presidential elections. For that
त्यांना
reason,
नंबर पाहिजे.
they want
त्या
numbers.
नंबर गेमला हे लोक सारे प्रयत्न करत
And for this number game, they want to destabilize the Maharashtra government.
आघाडीच्या सरकारला पाडावं आणि त्याला काढून टाकावं हे त्यांची नियत आहे.
And this is their intention. This is their only intention. Because of the presidential polls, they want to make sure that the Mahavikas Aghadi government falls in Maharashtra.
भूल गया था कि चंद राज्यों में भी पहले से इन्होंने ऐसा ही किया था, जैसा कि हमारे राज्य में कर्नाटक में भी. वहाँ पे भी 16-17 लोगों को खरीद फरोख्त करके निकाल के डरा के ईडी का केसेस लगा के सीबीआई को लगा के उन्होंने कर्नाटक में किया, मध्य प्रदेश में भी किया, गोवा में भी किया, मणिपुर में भी किया, उत्तराखंड में भी किया. हर राज्य में जहाँ पर कांग्रेस की सरकार थी या जो कांग्रेस की मेजॉरिटी थी उसको निकाल कर उसको माइनॉरिटी में लाके
You know, big statement being made by Mallikarjun Kharge right there. He's saying that this is all BJP's conspiracy. And he says, I will tell you why this is BJP's conspiracy. This is a BJP's conspiracy because of the presidential polls, and they're trying the level best to make sure that our government falls. But we are one. We will try our level best to keep our flock together. That is Congress's Mallikarjun Kharge right ahead of that big meeting of the Congress party, which is going to happen at 5 p.m. So all eyes are on that particular meeting now. Now, as Eknath Shinde's rebellion camp rises to a total of 42 MLAs, NCP Chief Sharad Pawar has reportedly advised Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray to take a tough stand on the party rebellion. Sources have told India Today that Sharad Pawar has asked Maharashtra NCP leaders to brace themselves for a crisis if they lose power in the state in an internal party meeting. Pawar has said that NCP is with Uddhav Thackeray during this situation. The NCP MLAs, MPs and leaders are going to be meeting at 5 p.m. today at the Chavan Center. NCP leader and minister Jayant Patil has said that Shiv Sena has been given chief ministerial post and it is up to them to give the post to anyone else. So that's the latest updates that we're bringing to you at this point of time. We have reactions on the back of this development. Listen into that first.
येणाऱ्या काळामध्ये पुढच्या काही दिवसात महाराष्ट्राच्या बाहेर गेलेले शिवसैनिक, महाराष्ट्राच्या बाहेर गेलेले शिवसेनेचे विधानसभेचे सदस्य आमदार हे परत येतील. त्यावेळी ते पुन्हा आपल्या स्वतःच्या पक्षात कार्यरत राहतील असा आम्हाला विश्वास आहे. आदरणीय शरद पवार साहेबांच्या घरी राष्ट्रवादीच्या प्रमुख नेत्यांची बैठक झाली. सध्याच्या परिस्थितीवर विचारविनिमय झाला. माननीय उद्धवजी ठाकरे साहेबांच्या नेतृत्वाखाली महाराष्ट्रातलं आमचं महाविकास आघाडीचं सरकार हे टिकावं आणि सर्वांनी एकमुखाने उद्धवजी ठाकरे साहेबांच्या बरोबर राहावं आणि त्यांना हे सरकार टिकवण्यासाठी प्रयत्न करावेत. त्यांनी प्रयत्न करावेत. आम्ही त्यांना आवश्यक ती मदत करावी.
Ashutosh Mishra is now joining us for the very latest. Ashutosh, we had that reaction coming in from Mallikarjun Kharge as well, saying that it is a BJP that is trying to, conspire and make sure that the government falls. And the reason he gives is that the presidential elections as well, and hence they want to see that the Mahavikas Aghadi does not survive. There are two parts to this. One is the BJP then, as alleged by all these parties, trying to set a very wrong precedent in this country? That's point number one. Point number two is, if the Mahavikas Aghadi Sarkar is so strong, why is it that the Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray is unable to keep his flock together?
And that's the question exactly when the alliance will be asking why this with the one after another meeting being called. Of course, look, the Congress and NCP both decided they will stand with Uddhav Thackeray, whatever decision comes, whatever decisions he take, even from changing the chief minister. But the questions is being asked for the Uddhav Thackeray that you cannot keep your house in order right under your knees or under your eyes. All these MLAs left to Surat, and from Guwahati you could not really help it. Now the only option that Congress and NCP has is to wait and watch what happens within the Shiv Sena, because until Shiv Sena is able to get back those numbers back from Guwahati to Mumbai, these ally partners are totally helpless. Just minute back, Ajit Pawar was here, and again, he wasn't able to respond anything. Sharad Pawar is already here. These meetings are happening. Congress is taking another meeting. Now, best they can, accuse the BJP. But remember, if there is one, someone will be benefited after all this political mess that's happening in Maharashtra. Ultimately, who will be beneficial of it? Those MLAs are
I'm just wondering, Ashutosh, what would be going through Ajit Pawar's mind at this point of time? Because you remember the entire debacle with Ajit Pawar the last time around when the Maharashtra political crisis happened, and then he came back into the NCP fold because of Sharad Pawar, and now this with the fear of the entire government being on a brink of a collapse.
Absolutely, and this is all like a deja vu moment that we are recalling what had happened just a couple of years ago, and again we are saying the similar incidents is happening. Clearly then it was a government form, the oath was taken, it even survived, and again it is on the brink of what we are seeing, that government is likely to collapse. But you heard Jayant Patil saying we are very much in power, the government still exists, and of course it will exist. But this time the dent is more. That time the NCP was hit, Ajit Pawar rebelled, Sharad Pawar had a control over the party, called all these MLAs back, and you also saw the airport, several MLAs who were going to Delhi and southern part, the Shiv Sena, the airport, their Kamgar union, they got all of them back from airport, back to the party meeting, and that's how the entire operation was executed. That time the Operation Kamala was totally failed, but this time the dent is very much in the party of Shiv Sena. And remember, the party like Shiv Sena is much different than NCP or the Congress. The organizational cadre-based party which works on ideology. Now the NCP MLAs and the leaders are joining me here, sir. सबसे ये समझे कि आप opposition के नेता भी हैं. ये इतना जो तमाशा पूरा हुआ है, इसका सबसे बड़ा फायदा किसको होगा और सबसे बड़ा नुकसान किसको होगा?
आज के तारीख में भारतीय जनता पार्टी इसका फायदा लेने के लिए देख रही है. ईडी ऊपर से 50% ईडी का रोल है और 50% भारतीय जनता पार्टी का रोल है. मगर
आपको भी फोन आया था, आपको भी जाने का ऑफर आया था?
हाँ पक्का, ये बीजेपी की तरफ से भी कुछ लोगों का बुलाना है, और उधर एकनाथ शिंदे साहब के जो गुट है उनकी तरफ से भी बुलाना है.
आपको कहाँ बुलाया गया था? सूरत बुलाया गया था?
गुवाहाटी, अभी फिलहाल गुवाहाटी में बुला है.
ताजा फोन कब आया था?
2 दिन हो गए कंटिन्यू उनका फोन चालू है, हम नहीं जाएंगे. उनको पहले से बता दिया कि हम महाविकास आघाड़ी के साथ.
कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं कि इसका सबसे ज्यादा नुकसान एनसीपी को हो जाए? एक बार एनसीपी में टूट हुई, हमने देखा 2 साल पहले तो अजीत पवार जाके फडणवीस साहब के साथ वहां तो सरकार बन भी गई थी. उसके बाद आपने किसी तरह सबको वापस बुलाया, नई सरकार बनी, अब वो लग रहा टूट गई तो फिर से बीजेपी की सरकार बनेगी, आप लोग फिर विपक्ष में चले जाएंगे.
आज के तारीख में 4:30 अभी बजे है, एक भी एनसीपी का आदमी टूटा नहीं है. हम 3 विधायक जो एनसीपी के साथ में निर्दलीय जुड़े हैं वो भी आज अभी मीटिंग के लिए आई है. मगर आप ऐसा बोल ही नहीं सकते कि एनसीपी अभी टूट गई है. पिछले जो वक्त हुआ तो वो अलग बात है, मगर अभी कोई भी हालत में महाविकास आघाड़ी टूटेंगे नहीं. कांग्रेस के विधायक भी साथ में है.
लेकिन अगर शिवसेना के विधायक नहीं आ रहे हैं घर वापसी तो होगा क्या?
4 दिन आप रुक जाइए, 4 दिन के बाद आपको रिजल्ट दिख जाएगा.
ठीक है. So there you heard Chaiti, the independent MLA who became part of the NCP, who supported the NCP, and you also heard that they also got a call to come to Guwahati. But this is what is all happening. But you heard the tall claim that wait for 4 days, the picture will change. Similarly, exactly the deja vu, if you remember what had happened a couple of years back.
Full
The wait
deja
for
vu.
2 days, things will change. And it will again take you to those statements, Sanjay Raut, CM to Sena ka yoga. But then just in few weeks, we heard another statement, me punha yen. So just what is happening, it is just a circle in Maharashtra, political circle, that is again taking turn after the time.
The biggest question that all our Maharashtra viewers are like, कोण येईल? आता आम्हाला माहिती नाही कोण येईल. Who's going to be the next chief minister? Is the Maharashtra government going to survive? Not going to survive. Vidya is also going to joining us for the very latest on that. Vidya, you heard the NCP leaders also saying, give us 4 days. Everything is going to be back in order. But the problem here is, while the NCP may have its flock together, the Shiv Sena does not. And that is the harsh reality that the Shiv Sena has to come to terms with. What is it that they're doing extra to go that extra mile to bring the numbers back into their fold? Because without which, it is imminent that this government will fall.
Well, one thing that they have done for sure is, remember yesterday they played the emotional card. We heard Uddhav literally plead to the people to come back. That did not really work. Now is the time to give a threat. You know, if you look at it, there are meetings being held with lower rung, Shaka Pramukhs, Vibhag Pramukhs. There are meetings being held by Shiv Sena leaders. And all these meetings, they're trying to find out what they really want. But of course, they're also trying
is coming in Meghalaya. Chief Minister Conrad Sangma is in Guwahati right now. Conrad Sangma is in Guwahati at the moment. Meghalaya Chief Minister makes his way to Guwahati at this point of time. Conrad Sangma in Guwahati right now. Latest breaking news coming in at the moment. We'll get you those visuals of the Chief Minister of Meghalaya in just about a bit. But you can the latest that we can confirm right now is that Conrad Sangma is in Guwahati at the moment. Remember, Guwahati is the place where all these rebel MLAs of the Shinde Sena camp are at the moment at the Radisson Blu Hotel, which has turned into a fortress of sorts. And now Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad Sangma is in Guwahati. That is the big breaking news we're bringing to you at this point of time. Do we have Paulami Saha with us? All right, Ashutosh is joining us for the latest on this particular story. Ashutosh, not just Guwahati, what we're picking up is that Conrad Sangma has reached the hotel. This means he's reached the Radisson Blu Hotel where the Shinde Sena rebel MLAs are there, with the hotel that has turned into a fortress of sorts, all under Eknath Shinde. What do you make of this situation with Conrad Sangma reaching there? All right, Paulami Saha is with us. She's joining us from outside the hotel itself. Paulami, has he reached Conrad Sangma? And what do you make of Conrad Sangma making his way to the Radisson Blu Hotel in Guwahati, where all the Eknath Shinde with his supporters are at the moment present?
Well, Tati, we were told by those who are the staff of Mr. Sangma that he's here for a personal visit. He is basically here just for 5 or 10 minutes. He's en route to the airport at the moment, and he's just stepped in for a bit to freshen up, and that's why he's at the hotel. That's what we've been told by his staff. So they're saying this has got nothing to do with the developments that are otherwise taking place inside Radisson.
But my question, Paulami, if he wants to really freshen up, there are many other hotels in Guwahati. Why the Radisson Blu Hotel?
Tati, it's possible that this was en route to his. This is definitely a hotel which is en route to the airport, and that's possibly the reason why he's chosen to enter this hotel. Obviously, it caused a lot of flutter and around the airport at the moment. But that is what his staff has told us as well. So obviously, we'll wait and see, because it is believed that he's only here for about 5 or 6 minutes, and then he will, of course, proceed towards the airport again.
And you are somebody who tracks politics so closely, Paulami, and there's nobody better to explain this situation. I understand what the staff is saying about he's just made a pit stop to just freshen up and then go make his way to the airport. But since you understand the political intertwinings and how it works, what is your sense? And of course, I'm asking you to make a conjecture at this point of time. That's a disclaimer.
But we will have to take it at face value, Jyoti, because as far as the Meghalaya Chief Minister is concerned, he doesn't have a role, so to say, to play in this entire, portfolio as it is playing out. So it is unlikely that he has anything to do with it. So we will have to just take this at face value because from the best of my understanding, the Meghalaya Chief Minister has no role whatsoever to play as far as this entire issue is concerned.
To Sir Polemy, who understands politics backwards, there seems to be a genuine pit stop to freshen up on his way to the airport, as being mentioned by the staff of Conrad Sangma, rather the people who are with Conrad Sangma and his team as well, and not much needs to be.
Chief Minister of Meghalaya.
All right, Polemy Saha still continues to be with us. And Polemy, I was just reiterating to our viewers as well that there is not more to it than meets the eye as far as Conrad Sangma making a pit stop at the Radisson Blu Hotel in Guwahati is concerned. But still, there is always going to be that 1% benefit of doubt that you will give, that why did he pick the Radisson Blu Hotel and not any other hotel in Guwahati? Okay, Polemy is going to be joining us in just about a bit. Apologies, viewers. We've lost that connection right there to Polemy Saha, who is tracking these developments. She's stationed outside the Radisson Blu Hotel in Guwahati. The latest coming in is that Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad Sangma is in Guwahati. And on this story, we're going to take a very short commercial break. All the twists, turns and the drama with the political crisis deepening in Maharashtra, our top story and our continuous coverage continues on the other side of this short commercial break.
Watch Amit Shah, Union Home Minister, as he addresses and awards top job and wealth creators at the Business Today Best CEO Awards, 24th June 2022, The Oberoi, New Delhi.
the rising petrol prices and inflation scare you? How much do you earn in a month? Well, the World Inequality Report will knock your socks out. And why? Because it says India stands out as a poor and unequal country with an affluent elite population. 15% of Indians earn less than rupees 5,000 every month, while 22% of the national income goes to the 1% rich community. The report flags a drop in global income during 2020, with about half the dip in rich countries and half in low income and emerging countries. Are we living in the prime of inequality? In 2019 and 20, among different employment categories, the highest percentage was of self-employed workers, which was 45.78%, followed by regular salaried workers 33.5% and casual workers 20.71%. Self-employed workers also belong to the lowest income categories. The report pegged the country's unemployment rate at 4.8% for 2019 and 20, and the worker population ratio at 46.8%. Let's not forget that this was the same time when the pandemic had hit the world. Clearly, the daily wage earners had no source of income during the lockdown period. Now, to address the wealthy population. In India, the wealthiest households are in urban areas, with as much as 74% of the urban population in the two highest wealth quintiles, as opposed to more than half of the rural population, which is 54%, which falls in the two lowest wealth quintiles. Chandigarh has the largest population of wealthy people. 79% of the population in Chandigarh falls in the highest wealth quintiles, followed by Delhi 68%, and then Punjab 61%.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. You are...
in association with Sensodyne Daily Sensitivity Protection, LIC हर पल आपके साथ।
सुरतवरून आलेले आहेत।
नेमकं बोलणार काय आहे?
और वो तीनों हमारे पक्ष श्रेष्ठी जो है उनके पास भेजा जाएगा।
Maha war of words over rebels.
त्या पद्धतीने शिवसेनेच्या आमदारांना
Kidnapping claim versus counter claim. Abducted MLAs smile from VIP jet. Is Shinde Sena trumping Uddhav Sarkar? Will there be no more Varsha in Uddhav skies? Ruthless Maha power play.
Non-stop breaking news on this dramatic developing story on what's happening in Maharashtra between Mumbai and Guwahati. It's non-stop. Here's the latest breaking news that we're getting in. The Shinde Sena, the rebel Sena, has swelled. It has become stronger in Guwahati. Meanwhile, there is a mad scramble in their hometown of Mumbai. Back-to-back meetings are taking place in Maharashtra's state capital. Congress leaders will be meeting very shortly on an emergency Chintan Baitak to make sure that they don't come out of this more burnt than anticipated. There's a huge churn on in the Congress camp to ensure that they can keep their flock together after the Shiv Sena has been split wide open by rebel leader Eknath Shinde. After Sanjay Raut, Uddhav Thackeray's Man Friday, Sanjay Raut's statement about exiting the Mahavikas Aghadi, the Congress is planning to formulate another strategy on what comes next. This is an every man and woman for themselves kind of situation for the three allies of the Mahavikas Aghadi right now. The Shiv Sena split wide open, the Pawar Sena, as it were, the MCP, figuring out how they could have been hoodwinked in this terrible manner, and the Congress, which is a powerless spectator, pretty much just waiting to see how this unfolds for them in the one state, or rather one of a few states, where they still are part of the government. But the defining image of the day today have been these two images which completely expose and debunk the entire kidnapping claim that came forward from the Shiv Sena today. Shiv Sena MLA Nitin Deshmukh claimed that he had been abducted by the rebel leaders of Eknath Shinde's faction and taken forcibly away from Mumbai, and that he had returned of his own volition to support the Uddhav faction. In response, the rebel faction released pictures of MLA Nitin Deshmukh grinning widely, appearing to go completely voluntarily in a super luxury private jet on that flight from Surat to Guwahati. Incredible tutu meme, claim versus counterclaim on the back of a very serious allegation that MLAs had been kidnapped. The rebel leaders saying, what kidnapping? He came smiling with us in a private jet. All we had to do was tell him to come with us, and here he is at this super luxury aircraft in which he was flown. So let's quickly first get into the top developments that we're tracking right now. The Maharashtra government collapse appears to be on the horizon. The Shinde Sena has put up a huge show of strength, flaunting all 42 MLAs, that includes 7 independent MLAs, posing for the first time in the same frame. Earlier this morning, 3 more Sena rebel MLAs landed in Guwahati. With that, the Shinde Sena now has 38 Shiv Sena rebels with them. That is enough to evade the anti-defection law of the country. Meanwhile, in Mumbai, only 13 Sena MLAs, embarrassingly low number. 13 Sena MLAs turned up for the Shiv Sena meeting. The 13 included Uddhav's son, Uddhav Thackeray. Sharad Pawar, in his meeting with the NCP Netas, gave a big signal about the possibility that defeat is afoot. He told his senior leaders that they should be ready for a political struggle if they lose power in the next few days. The Shinde Sena sitting in Guwahati is getting ready to stake claim. Sources are telling India Today that Shinde will be reaching out to the governor to declare a two-thirds majority at this time. Huge war over the rebels has erupted amidst this high-voltage drama in Maharashtra. Two Uddhav Sena MLAs, Kailash Patil and Nitin Deshmukh, returned to Mumbai today. They were garlanded, shawls were thrown on their heads. They were felicitated as they returned from Guwahati to Mumbai, claiming that they were kidnapped by the Shinde camp and forcibly taken to Surat in neighboring Gujarat. Kailash Patil claimed that he was trapped and taken to Surat, and he also walked a kilometer to run away from there. Nitin Deshmukh, in a stunning claim, that said he was injected with some chemical and surrounded by 50 policemen when he came into consciousness. However, the Shinde Sena, as we've just shown you, was very quick to counter Uddhav Sena's claim, releasing these pictures showing both Kailash Patil and Nitin Deshmukh all smiles while their rebel leader Eknath with their rebel leader Eknath Shinde. Both the rebel MLAs who've now returned obviously had a change of heart. They were also seen signing a letter of support to Eknath Shinde yesterday, or smiling in a VIP jet. Well, Sanjay Raut, who is Uddhav Thackeray's man Friday, in the middle of all this mess, has claimed that he's in touch with 21 rebel MLAs and they all want to return to Uddhav's fold in Mumbai. So who's lying? Who's telling the truth? Which pictures are reality and which pictures are a dishonesty is the big question as this entire Maharashtra Mahabharat enters its final scene.
साडेसहाच्या दरम्यान 15 ते 20 जणांनी कोणी माझी कंबर पकडली, कोणी माझे पाय पकडले, कोणी माझे हात पकडले, कोणी केसाची मान पकडली आणि एका जणांनी माझ्या दंडामध्ये जोराने इंजेक्शन टोचलं. ज्यावेळेस मला इंजेक्शन टोचलं त्यावेळेस अक्षरशः मला खरोखर लळ आला होता की आपल्या मागे आपली मुलगी आहे, आपला मुलगा आहे, माझी पत्नी आहे, यांनी कोणत्या प्रकारचं आपल्याला इंजेक्शन टोचलं, कोणत्या प्रकारचं काय टोचलं. मला थोडासा तिथं लळ आला, मी अक्षरशः लढलो सुद्धा. आणि मग मला लक्षात आलं की आपला अटॅकच्या नावाखाली आपला कुठंतरी घातपात करणार आहेत आणि इंजेक्शन दिल्यानंतर मला गुंगी आली आणि अशा ठिकाणी नेलं की तिथं हॉस्पिटलमध्ये एक रूम होती, तिथं 50 पोलीस बंदोबस्त माझ्यासाठी होता, IPS अधिकारी सुद्धा होते. म्हणजे किती ह्या मांग कशा पद्धतीनं कारस्थान भारतीय जनता पार्टी रचत आहे त्याचं प्रत्यक्ष उदाहरण त्या दिवशी मी पाहिलं.
आमच्या सहकार्याने सांगितलं की आपल्याला एक ठिकाणी जायचंय, तिथं आपल्याला साहेब भेटणार आहेत असं म्हणून मला आणि बाकीच्या काही सहकाऱ्यांना ठाण्याच्या महापौर बंगल्यावर नेलं गेलं असं समजून आम्ही चालत होतो. पण नंतर ठाणे गेलं, ठाण्यानंतर वसई विरार, आता मला त्या एरियातलं जेवढं काही माहिती नाही, पण शहरं संपत गेली आणि पुढं जसं जसं जाईल तसं माझ्या लक्षात यायला काहीतरी वेगळं होतंय. या दरम्यान ज्यावेळेस मी गाडीतून पहिल्यांदा उतरलो त्यावेळेस मी आमचे माननीय पक्षप्रमुखांची संपर्क साधला, उद्धवजी संपर्क साधला, त्यांना सांगितलं की मी उतरलोय आणि निघालोय. त्याचबरोबर आमच्या खासदारांची मी संपर्कात होतो. माझी बॅटरी एक 7-8% राहिली होती, त्यामुळे मी लाईव्ह लोकेशन किंवा बाकीच्या गोष्टी शेअर करू शकत नव्हते, कारण बॅटरी कधी माझा मोबाईल डिस्चार्ज होऊ शकत होता. तो बिचारी उत्तर प्रदेशची होती, अनोळखी होती. खरं तर ते मला त्यावेळेस देवदूत म्हणूनच भेटले. मी त्यांच्यावर एक स्वतः उतरल्यानंतर सेल्फी सुद्धा काढला. मी त्यांना सांगितलं मी कोण आहे, फक्त मी त्यांना एवढं सांगितलं की मी अडचणीत आहे, मला तुम्ही मुंबई स्टेशन घेऊन जावा.
Now this power tussle has come to a breaking point. That appears to be pretty certain now. The only confusion is what's going to happen next. Who's going to stake claim? Will there be a floor test? How do the chips finally settle in Maharashtra? That's what the people of Maharashtra especially want to know. Now the Eknath Shinde rebel clan continues to gain momentum and grow in strength, as you can see in these images that India Today accessed first, flaunting the entire band of 42 rebel MLAs, including 7 independents. The numbers of the Shiv Sena, the Shinde Sena rather, are just swelling. as 4 more Maharashtra MLAs have joined the rebel faction after landing in Guwahati. They're all seen in those pictures. Now, the presence of 35 direct Shiv Sena rebels, including Eknath Shinde and 7 independent MLAs, was witnessed at the Radisson Blu Hotel in Guwahati. That's the image you're looking at. In that video, from Guwahati, inside the hotel, inside what appears to be some kind of banquet hall, all of these rebel Maharashtra MLAs, including Eknath Shinde, were seen sitting together and raising slogans of Shinde Saab, tum aage badho, hum tumhare saath hain. Well, this clearly projects a view that Uddhav Thackeray is left with the support of just 13 MLAs, including his own son, Aditya Thackeray. Meanwhile, Shiv Sena MP and Uddhav's Man Friday, Sanjay Raut, has claimed that 21 rebel MLAs are in touch with the party and wish to return to the Uddhav fold. 21 out of the 42 that you've seen in those images. Now, during a press conference, the Shiv Sena's MLAs Kailash Patil and Nitin Deshmukh also claimed that they were forcibly taken to a resort in Gujarat's Surat.
त्यानिमित्तानं सांगतोय की त्यांच्या ताब्यातल्या 21 आमदारांचा संपर्क आमच्याशी झालेला आहे. कोणी किती फोटो आणि व्हिडिओ इथे पाठवावेत, पत्ते खेळताना, जेवताना, खाताना, पिताना, पण ज्या दिवशी ते मुंबईला येतील त्या दिवशी त्यातले 21 आमदार हे शिवसेनेचे असतील. या सगळ्यांशी माननीय उद्धव ठाकरे यांच्याशी व्यवस्थित संपर्काने चर्चा झालेली आहे. ते त्यातले 1 जण सुरतवरून आलेले आहेत आणि दुसरे गुवाहाटीवरून आलेले, आणि इथे येताना त्यांना जो संघर्ष करावा लागला, विरुद्ध करावं लागलं, जी जोखीम पत्करावी लागली, ती संपूर्ण कहाणी थरारक आणि रोमांचक आहे. कोणत्या पद्धतीनं शिवसेनेच्या आमदारांना अपहरण करून फसवून आपल्या कब्जात भाजपने नेलंय. मी उल्लेख फक्त भाजपचाच करतोय. नेलं आणि गुलाम बनवण्याचा प्रयत्न सुरू आहे.
Now let's show you what the final battle plan of all these factions at this point of time really is. Now you're probably wondering, what are the 5 factions that I'm talking about right now in our coverage? Let's try and show you. Now you've got the defenders, that is the Uddhav Sena. The main priority right now for them is to stop further defections, try to bring back the rebels who are sitting in Guwahati. They claim to be in touch with 21. We don't know if that's true. Stop the recognition of the Shinde Sena as the main opposition here, and to also legally challenge defections in court if it comes to that. And finally, ensure that, like the MLAs, hopefully the MPs will also not dump the Uddhav Sena is the big priority for the defenders, because these are the guys who are in power right now. Now let's go to the ally, which is the Pawar faction. Now, the Pawar faction's priority right now is to keep the NCP flock together, because if they start crumbling now, then game over will happen much sooner. Now, they are preparing for defeat and a political crisis. Pawar has even shared that with his own flock, but he needs to maintain a united front with Uddhav, which he's doing on the face of it. What's happening behind closed doors is probably a different story. Now, the rebels, let's go to the Shinde Sena. Shinde Sena is sitting in Guwahati right now. These are the rebels, the rebel force, as it were, which wants to claim power in Mumbai. They want to lure more people, MLAs and MPs from the Uddhav Sena. They would like to stake claim as the main opposition with numbers. That's why they want to meet the governor. And their third strategy in the battle plan is join forces with the BJP finally to join and form the government. Now let's go to the rival force. The rival force, of course, is the BJP, which has been conspicuously silent through all of this. But obviously, the BJP has a role to play in what's going on. The Fadnavis-led BJP is the rival force or the rival army. They need to prevent Shinde Sena from doing a U-turn. They need to protect Shinde and his band of rebel MLAs from Uddhav Thackeray's feelers coming in from Mumbai. Remember, Uddhav says he's in touch with at least 21 of these rebel MLAs. The BJP needs to ensure the support of all the rebels. There needs to be no change of heart at the last minute is what the BJP's battle plan is. And finally, bring down the Uddhav Aghadi government. And last but not least is the Congress party. The Congress party has a sizable number of MLAs in Maharashtra. They're not a small player in Maharashtra. However, they appears to be a powerless spectator in this entire unfolding drama because their entire attention is focused on Enforcement Directorate and Rahul Gandhi. So there's not much action, as it were, from the Congress party, even though they've just held an emergency meeting. Their priority is going to be no choice but to wait and watch because they've got zero leverage in what's unfolding right now. It's all happening between BJP and Shiv Sena and these two factions right now. But their priority will be to keep the flock together. So those are the main things that are taking place right now. The battle plan of the 5 different factions. The Uddhav Sena, the Shinde Sena, the NCP, the BJP and the Congress party. That's the reason why we were talking about the 5 different camps. Joining me live now is our consulting editor Rajdeep Sardesai, India's #1 political reporter and editor and someone who perhaps knows more about Maharashtra politics than most. Rajdeep, welcome. You know, is it endgame Uddhav now? Shinde has posed with 42 rebels. You've seen those viral pictures. He claims 3 more are in Mumbai at this point of time. Is this collapse, imminent? Is game over now a kind of foregone conclusion for the Aghadi Sarkar?
Well, let me say that in the first instance, one is always hesitant to say end game, especially in the volatile, turbulent world that Maharashtra's politics has become in recent times. But yes, it appears that this government is slowly but surely on its way out. The exit door seems to be opening slowly, particularly now that Eknath Shinde has shown that he has the support of more than 40 MLAs, including at least 35 Shiv Sena MLAs, and that number could go up and cross that magic figure of 37. As of now, only about 15 MLAs seem to be firmly in the Uddhav Thackeray camp out of the 55. So purely in terms of numbers, advantage to Eknath Shinde and the rebel group who are in a position now to break the Shiv Sena without attracting the anti-defection provisions that require 2/3 of the legislature party to break. And once they decide to take the next step of really challenging the Uddhav Thackeray government to prove its vote of confidence, then you would say that the fall of this government is imminent. What you are seeing at the moment is the politics of cat and mouse or brinkmanship, with Sanjay Raut, Uddhav Thackeray's aide, daring the MLAs to first come to Mumbai and then discuss any possibility of withdrawing from this MVA government, which is a demand of the Eknath Shinde camp. And the Eknath Shinde camp telling the Uddhav Thackeray camp, first withdraw support or break away from the NCP and Congress, and then we can take the next move. So in this game of brinkmanship, particularly the Uddhav Thackeray camp is trying to buy time, in my view. Yeah. And finally, it could well be on the floor of the House that the government falls. Although there is one view within the Shiv Sena that Uddhav Thackeray should be ready to hand over his resignation in the knowledge that he has lost the support of the majority of the Sena MLAs. There's that small possibility that the Uddhav camp is still counting on, that once the MLAs come from Guwahati to Mumbai, things could change, and at least a dozen to maybe even 15, 16 may have a change of heart once they are confronted with their own constituents, the Shiv Sena rank and file. But I think it's a small hope. But as they say, Umeed par duniya qaim hai. So the Uddhav Thackeray camp is living on hope, while the Eknath Shinde camp seems to be jubilant and has all the momentum with it.
Rajdeep, but what happens next? In the immediate hours, immediate minutes and hours of this, rapidly shape-shifting story, are you seeing the BJP forming the government, with Fadnavis as chief minister and Shinde as a deputy chief minister?
Well, you're asking me what shape this government will take. Now, one possibility and the most likely possibility is Devendra Fadnavis, who has stayed completely silent, but I am told is choreographing this operation from behind, is waiting to pounce. The moment Eknath Shinde is completely confident of his MLAs and a confidence vote is called, Devendra Fadnavis will, I'm sure, reveal his cards, and he wants to therefore revive the original BJP Sena alliance, possibly minus Uddhav Thackeray this time, and thereby become chief minister and maybe offer Eknath Shinde deputy chief minister. That's the most likely scenario. A second possibility is of Eknath Shinde's group merging with the BJP, but that's a remote possibility At the moment, so far, Eknath Shinde is claiming that he's the real Shiv Sena. So doesn't want to merge with the BJP, wants to maintain his identity. And the third possibility is the possibility of president's rule being called, because there is a section of the BJP which believes that this jod-tod ki rajniti has limited advantage, and eventually the BJP should be in a position to go back to the electorate and demand a majority of its own in Maharashtra. But that will only happen if this becomes a prolonged battle. As of now, possibility number one seems most likely. Devendra Fadnavis, Chief Minister, Eknath Shinde, Deputy Chief Minister. And then, of course, there is the fourth and final possibility that all these MLAs, at least a section of these MLAs, return to Uddhav Thackeray. Doesn't look like happening for now. It appears that the MVA government is clearly on ventilator and is looking more and more, difficult for Matoshree to pull this one off.
Is it the Maha ventilator Aghadi in that case, taking from the word that you've used? Rajdeep, appreciate that perspective, unmatched, as we watch this, what appears to be the final scene, for the Aghadi Sarkar. We're going to keep it, keep bringing you in, Rajdeep, on this shape-shifting story, because it really is moving so quickly. We've got some breaking news coming in now from that third camp, the Sharad Pawar party. Sharad Pawar is meeting with his party MLAs and MPs in South Mumbai as we speak. That critical emergency meeting has just begun. Sharad Pawar, his nephew Ajit Pawar, senior leaders Chhagan Bhujbal, Jitendra Awad and many others are attending this meeting. Sharad Pawar, remember, a short while ago had dropped a bombshell when he was meeting senior leaders, when he said, prepare for political struggle if we lose power, if this government falls, prepare for political struggle. So in many ways, Sharad Pawar already signaling or conceding that defeat is a possibility. Now, big top-level meeting between Pawar, easily seen as the most powerful politician in Maharashtra at this time, along with his MPs and MLAs, including his nephew Ajit Pawar. So big movements taking place in Mumbai for the third day running. Remember, it was day before yesterday that India Today broke the story early in the morning, and look how far it's come. There is hardly a moment when a big emergency meeting is not being called, because every minute counts right now. The NCP under Sharad Pawar is going to be hoping to keep its flock together. There's been a total breakdown of trust between Sharad Pawar's party and Uddhav Thackeray. Each party, the three parties that make up the Maha Vikas Aghadi, are looking to keep their flocks united. The Shiv Sena is broken and bruised. The NCP and the Congress are hoping that they are able to stay united at this point of time. So big meeting by Sharad Pawar with his people has just begun in South Mumbai. Let's go across to India Today's Ritvik Bhalekar, who is outside the NCP office in Mumbai. We have Vidya, who's outside Matoshree, which is the Thackeray residence. And we have Polami Saha live from the Radisson Blu Hotel in Guwahati, Assam, the other end of the country, where the rebel Sena is currently digging in its heels and waiting to move in for the kill. Vidya, I quickly want to come to you first. The NCP under Sharad Pawar is going to be holding a meeting very shortly, or that meeting has already begun. Can you give us some sense of what's happening at that meeting? What is this about? Because it comes just shortly after Sharad Pawar said, prepare for political struggle, where he sounded like he was, preparing his people for exiting government.
Well, it is certainly. If you look at the numbers that are against the Shiv Sena right now, that is led by Uddhav Thackeray, it certainly is very clear that the MVA government is actually, as Rajdeep put it, it's a ventilator. It's not really the numbers do not fall in the on the side of Uddhav Thackeray, and that's the reason why the parties are preparing themselves. Also, remember, though Sharad Pawar might say that it's an internal issue of Shiv Sena and we might have nothing to do with it, but remember, it is on this that the stake of the entire government, the MVA, is dependent on. So internally, they have been trying to see that if they can help the Shiv Sena in any way, but nothing really much happening with the kind of security that we have seen in Guwahati, the kind of, the distance that it is from here. So not much that, and remember, neither the Shiv Sena nor the NCP really have much base. The Congress does have, but they have also been not really been that much helpful to the MVA, to the Shiv Sena right here. So that's one of the reasons why, most of these people, especially the NCP, say that it's near end game, not end game as yet, though until and unless Uddhav Thackeray just waves off his hands and says, I'm giving up. Until then, there is no end game, and that's one of the reasons why when Sanjay Raut is holding meetings, he is trying to say that he does have the figures, though I'm sure none of the parties actually have been speaking the original figures. But whatever they have been saying, they do stake a claim that they will be able to form a government with the MVA on this side or with the BJP, as Shinde has been saying. Either way, someone has to make a move. Since none of them are making this move, it does seem like that numbers are not in anyone's favor as yet.
It's incredible. Ritvik, does Sharad Pawar's party have any aces up its sleeve? The perspective from outside Maharashtra is Sharad Pawar is always a few steps ahead of everyone. He always knows what's going on. This time it looks like even he was caught off guard.
Yes, absolutely. The meeting of NCP leaders and all the ministers, all the senior leaders has just begun, and we just saw a few minutes ago, Praful Patel, the senior leader, just left somewhere. He said, I'll be back in half an hour. But everyone is wondering that all the leaders are sitting here in a meeting in YB Chavan Center. Even Sharad Pawar is sitting and he's addressing the meeting. And where did Praful Patel has gone? He'll be coming back in an half an hour. But it is a very important meeting, very crucial meeting on the background of the rapid turn of political events which is happening in Mumbai, because this is the first full-fledged meeting by NCP addressed by Sharad Pawar. Till now, in last 2 days, we didn't see Sharad Pawar coming onto the ground and taking over the charge the way we saw it in 2019. In 2019, we saw how in just 3 days, in 80 hours, the government which was made by his nephew and then Minister Ajit Pawar, who took oath as Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra with CM Devendra Fadnavis. He wrestled back all the MLAs. He was monitoring the situation very closely, and he toppled that government in 80 hours, and he took over the charge, and he formed MVA alliance, which is running in Maharashtra for last 2.5 years. But now the situation is not like that, because we are watching one after another Shiv Sena MLAs is leaving Mumbai. They are flying to Guwahati. Videos are coming in, bites are coming in. There are so many allegations which are being made through letters, through video bites, through Twitter accounts. And in this whole scenario, we can just see Uddhav is all he is doing is he's showing a show of emotional play. But now on the ground, Sharad Pawar has come and he has started taking all the charge in his hand. He's addressing all the NCP MLAs, and it is needed to be said that what will NCP take stand in this whole scenario.
Okay, because for the first time, and I have to say this, Sharad Pawar is looking like he doesn't hold all the cards. He's a man who never gives away what he's thinking, what his strategy is, but he never looks rattled. He certainly never looked rattled at his press conference as well. But the words that he's using, the fact that he hasn't said very much, saying things as incredulous as this is an internal matter of the Shiv Sena, all betray a certain sense of alarm, which is uncharacteristic, if I can put it that way, for Sharad Pawar. Let's take you straight across the country to Poulomi Saha, who's been staking it out outside the Radisson Blu Hotel in Guwahati, which I dare say is now the political hot spot of Guwahati at this point of time. Pallavi, the simple question, there are so many questions to ask, I don't really know where to start, but let's start with the simplest of them all. They've shown the pictures, the Shinde Sena has flaunted its strength, you know, nice big photo op that's gone viral, everyone's looking at those pictures and, you know, counting the heads, 42 in all. When are these numbers going to be put to work? You know, when is the governor going to be approached? Or, you know, procedurally, when are they going to make that move?
Well, Shiv, the fact is that they have the numbers already. They already are past the halfway mark if we include the support of the 3 MLAs that we're speaking of since the morning, who are, of course, not here in Guwahati, but have in fact pledged their support to Eknath Shinde. Unless they have some sort of a change of mind, then of course things will play out very differently. But as far as the Eknath Shinde camp is concerned, they're looking at a good sizable chunk of MLAs. Okay, Ajay, I'll request you to please. We're getting some action over here, Shiv. We're getting some movement over here of more MLAs, Shiv. We're bringing to you live these pictures that are coming in from outside Radisson Blue Hotel. We're trying to see if there are any more of these leaders who are in fact going in. Kesarkar seems to be back. Is it that was Deepak Kesarkar, who in fact had stepped out for a short while, who seems to have come back. There was always a lot of speculation as to where he had headed out. Some said he was in fact headed to the Kamakhya temple. He is a big Kamakhya Bhakt, and that is why he in fact had gone towards the temple. So Deepak Kesarkar, who is one of the new joinees, so to say, who came in earlier this morning, has returned to the hotel. Coming back to what you were saying, Shiv, earlier. Now, this obviously, he seems to have the numbers on paper, but he's not going to stop at that. He needs to ensure that everyone stays together as a flock, and he's going to try and take that number beyond the halfway mark. Because if you just stop at 37, and even if 1 or 2 change their mind, then the entire operation, so to say, quote unquote, that you're trying to pull off over here falls apart. So he is going to try and see if he can get more MLAs on board. He has been, of course, claiming that he can bring many more on board, and there will be many more who will be completely disaffected, Shiv Senics, disenchanted with how the Shiv Sena of Balasaheb Thackeray is functioning, will join him. So to give a certain timeline to this could be about another 24 to 48 hours that I seem to think that this could possibly wrap up within, at least here in Guwahati. Shiv.
Polami, you know what, the Sanjay Raut and team in Mumbai are sitting and saying that at least half of the people in that picture are in touch with the, you know, the head office back home, you know, which is a huge claim to make, because that's like a game changer. Any you know, clarifications of any kind coming in from inside? You know, I know that nobody is going to give away the reality, but any sense you're getting that ki baatcheet ho rahi hai with Mumbai?
Well, as far as the rebel camp is concerned, obviously it has been claimed by Sanjay Raut, by Uddhav Thackeray and others as well, that they're constantly talking to Eknath Shinde, to the rebel camp as well. There can be no doubt about it, Shiv, that there are conversations that are happening. But at the moment, if you can see, in terms of countering those allegations, Sanjay Raut, of course, saying that 21 MLAs who are part of this jamboree over here, behind me at the Radisson Blue Hotel, are those who have been forced to, compelled to, in fact, join this gang. But the fact of the matter is, here they were in that photo op that everyone saw, 42 MLAs, Shiv Sena and independents included. So that was a message, that was a response that the Eknath Shinde camp was sending out to the Uddhav Thackeray camp. The fact of the matter is that there are MLAs in batches of 3 and 4, Shiv, who've been coming in since yesterday evening. There was that massive big lot that came in of 29 Shiv Senics and a few others earlier from Surat. But after that, there have been batches of 3 and 4. Are you forcing 3 and 4 batches of 3 and 4 to in fact come all the way to Guwahati? That is a little implausible to understand, because these are MLAs who are driving down from Mumbai to Surat, and from Surat they're staying the night in the Lee Meridian Hotel in Surat, taking the first charter out from Surat airport, landing here in Guwahati in the wee hours of the morning. So they are coming in since last evening in batches of 3s and 4. You cannot say that you are forcing them and bringing them on gunpoint here to Guwahati in batches of 3s and 4s. sentiments, Shiv.
Very good point. I mean, this whole narrative of MLAs being forced, appears to be a little iffy considering they're all smiling. We've got more breaking news. Polomi, stay with me. More breaking news coming in. Uddhav Thackeray's lieutenant, his right-hand man, Sanjay Raut, has just tweeted, discussions can lead the way. There can be discussion. The doors of the house are open. Why does the forest wander? Let's decide with self-respect rather than slavery. Jai Maharashtra. Amazing, amazing shape-shifting narrative. Breaking first and exclusive here on India Today. Sanjay Raut tweeting in Marathi, of course, saying, discussions are possible. Ghar aa jao. Let's have baatcheet and settle this matter. The words of the Uddhav Sena that has been cornered as far as numbers are concerned, and that's why a conciliatory tone. After first, appearing to threaten the rebel MLAs, saying if you don't come back, you'll be disqualified. If you don't attend this meeting, you are being kicked out of the Shiv Sena. Now, the Uddhav Sena has decided to strike a softer tone, a more conciliatory tone, a more emotional tone, and say, let's talk about it. Come back home, let's talk about it. This is very, very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. The entire tone and tenor with which Sanjay Raut and Uddhav Thackeray have handled this has remarkably softened over the last few hours. Remember, the Uddhav Sena had flaunted 2 MLAs who had allegedly been kidnapped and taken to Guwahati. After the Shinde rebel camp had exposed that claim, showing pictures of them smiling in Guwahati, now you've got the Uddhav Sena making its next move, and it's a very, very conciliatory move. Remember, this is the same Sanjay Raut who just a couple of hours ago saying, we are ready to leave the Maha Vikas Aghadi government as long as these MLAs come back to Mumbai. We will get out of government. Now he says, come back, let's talk. So this is a situation and a story that is really, really changing very, very rapidly. Do we have Vidya with us? We have Vidya with us. Let's get her perspective on this. Vidya, softer tone being used right now visibly by the Uddhav Sena. Sanjay Raut saying, it's gone from if you guys don't come back, you are in trouble, to please come back, let's talk.
Shiv, I'm actually going to speak to some of the Shiv Sainiks right here.
Yeah.
And try to get their sentiments to find out what exactly they have to say. They have been standing here since some time now. आप लोग यहाँ क्यों खड़े?
हम तो हमारे जो मुख्यमंत्री है उद्धव साहब, उनको सपोर्ट करने के लिए खड़े हैं, और हमारा मातोश्री से घर का रिश्ता।
और जो लोग चले गए हैं उनके बारे में?
जो चले गए उनके बारे में क्या बोलना है? जिन्होंने गद्दारी करनी थी गद्दारी की, जो भगोड़े थे भगोड़े भाग गए, और उनसे हमारा कुछ लेना देना नहीं। हमारा जो शिवसैनिक है वो आम पब्लिक में का शिवसैनिक है, गरीबों का शिवसैनिक है।
यहाँ क्यों खड़े हैं आप लोग? यहाँ क्यों खड़े?
उद्धव सर को हम सपोर्ट करने के लिए यहाँ पर खड़े हैं।
किस चीज का इंतजार कर रहे हैं?
यहाँ उनका एक तो आने का इंतजार कर रहे हैं, जो भाग के गए हैं, जिन्होंने गद्दारी की शिवसेना से, उनका इंतजार कर रहे हैं, और हमें आशा है कि उनमें से बहुत सारे एमएलए वापस शिवसेना में आएंगे।
माफ किया जाएगा वो लोग जो वापस आएंगे?
वो तो उनके जो भी डिसीजन है वो उद्धव साहब लेंगे, वो तो हम डिसीजन लेंगे।
लेकिन आपका क्या मानना, आपका मत क्या?
नहीं, वो एक बार चले गए, उनके जो दिल से निकल गए, उनकी जगह फिर दिल में नहीं होती, ऐसा शिवसैनिक होता है।
इससे पहले भी ऐसा ही हुआ है जब लोग छोड़ के गए?
तो उनकी जीरो वैल्यू है ना शिवसेना। हमारे दिल में जो कॉमन शिवसैनिक है, उसके दिल में जो भगोड़े के थे जो चले गए हैं, उनके लिए हमारे दिल में कुछ भी जगह नहीं है।
Shiv, that's the sentiment here. Most of the people on the ground are extremely upset with what's happening. Quite a few of them actually even do not know what to do, and they're waiting for Uddhav Thackeray to say something to them so that they can actually take it forward. But at this juncture, most of the Shiv Sainiks quite upset with what is happening in the party, and mostly feel that they should come back, whether be it with the MVA, be it with the BJP, whichever it is. it is Uddhav Thackeray who should be taking the decision, not any other MLA or any other person from, Maharashtra. So that's the sentiment of most of the Shiv Seniks here who are right now waiting outside Matoshree.
So, the big question, Vidya, of course, is going to be what's going to happen once these MLAs return. They show no sign of wanting to return immediately because many things are uncertain for them as well. The anger of the Shiv Seniks, is a famous thing that must also be weighing on their minds. So they need to get all the assurances. Everything needs to be tied up before, I guess, they get onto that plane and return to Mumbai. Stay with me, Vidya. I want to show people what that viral image actually looked like. The entire Shinde Sena captured in one single frame. Take a look. This is the Shinde Sena right here. This is the Shinde Sena here right now. All 42 of them captured in one single frame. Because there had been so much talk about the numbers, viewer. There had been so much talk about, no, it's not 42, it's less than that. There are only a few Shiv Sena. Not all of them are actually owing allegiance to Eknath Shinde. But this photo op perhaps told the Eknath Shinde Sena story more than anything else. And that's why you've got all of these 42 people, including some women MLAs there. All of these people are right now inside that Guwahati hotel, and these are the people who will be put to work to prove those numbers. Now, the Shiv Sena, that is the Uddhav Sena, the original Shiv Sena, which is the Uddhav Sena, claims that 21 of the people here, we don't know who they are, but 21 of the people here are still in touch with the mothership in Mumbai. They're still in touch with Matoshree. They are still deciding on whether they want to owe allegiance to Eknath Shinde and bring down the Uddhav government, or whether they want to fly back home to Mumbai. But as things stand right now, viewer, this is what the Shinde Sena looks like. The BJP is in the background, but the Shinde Sena is what could bring down the Uddhav government. That's what we are looking at right now. Let's go across to our reporters who continue to be with us. I'm just going to get a sense of who all we have with us. We've got Vidya, we've got Ritwik who's still with us, we've got Polami as well. Ritwik, quickly bringing you in on this. The Shinde Sena has become like the catchphrase now, that the Shiv Sena appears to have been split wide open. The NCP, the NCP's official view of all this is that this is a internal matter of the Shiv Sena, which is something that could not be further from the truth, because what is happening right now will affect the NCP no matter which way you slice it. And that's what this big meeting happening with Sharad Pawar is about, Ritwik.
Yes, absolutely. The meeting is for to convey to their own MLAs, the NCP MLAs, and to keep their flock intact. They don't want their MLAs to be in trouble. They don't want anyone else contacting their MLAs. At the same time, they will also want to ensure that even if Shiv Sena has split in parts, the major chunk of Shiv Sena has now, it is very evident, has flown away to Guwahati and they are not coming back. The tweet of Sanjay Raut says it all. The tone of the tweet says it all, because we know how Sanjay Raut tweets every time. There's a shero shairi and there's anecdotes and there's always a challenge. But this tweet of Sanjay Raut is very unlikely of him. It is literally, it is asking them to come back, and it looks like a last resort of Shiv Sena, of appealing their MLAs to come back. But at the same time, it is happening. The tweet is coming when NCP meeting is happening, and in some time, I think Congress meeting has also begun at Sahyadri Guest House. Both the allies are having their meetings with their own MLAs, and at this time, the Sanjay Raut has tweeted, this clearly means that they are trying the last resort to strike a contact, strike communication with their MLAs and try to convince them. But
Ritwik, stay with me. Ritwik, stay with me. I want to show our viewers, how the numbers have changed, because the numbers have not been staying steady. There have been lots of claims and counterclaims, but look at how these numbers have changed. This is how the Shinde Sena went from 34 to 42. They were originally at 35 at the Leh Meridian in Surat in Gujarat. 2 days later, today at the Radisson Blu, Guwahati, there are 42 rebels. It's gone from 34 2 days ago to 42 now. and that has completely changed the game. 2 days. Tuesday is the day India Today broke the story in the morning, 36 minutes before everyone else. 2 days later, cut to Guwahati, Thursday. 42 is that number. They've got the numbers to bring the government down. When does the actual axe fall on the Uddhav government? Depends on many things and many loose ends for the Shinde Sena and the BJP that are obviously taking place at this point of time. The BJP, you all will be wondering, has been stunningly silent through it all. Let's get a word in from Polomi, who's at the Radisson Blu Hotel in Guwahati. Polomi, no word from Devendra Fadnavis, no word from any senior BJP leader. Obviously there's a wait and watch, which is a very nice, gentle way of saying that, they're standing on the sidelines waiting for the kill. What are you picking up from the BJP grapevine, Polomi, about how they see this playing out?
Shiv, BJP cannot ignore the fact or cannot deny the fact that they are a stakeholder in what is happening at the moment, and a prominent stakeholder at that. They are of course going to say that we're in a wait and watch mode and we're watching the developments very carefully, but they are of course making their calculations as well as we speak. Devendra Fadnavis may have been a very silent player in this entire episode since the night when the BJP pulled off this coup in the MLC elections. When Devendra Fadnavis spoke about the BJP's 5-candidate win in the election, he has not spoken at all. He has been inside his residence in Mumbai, constantly meeting people, including independent MLAs as well. So he is strategizing, he's putting together his numbers. BJP, of course, has a sizable chunk of MLAs in the Maharashtra Legislative Assembly. They stand at 106, but he is trying to get the support of others as well, not just independents who've already pledged their support. There are 13 independents in the Maharashtra Legislative Assembly, not just those that have already pledged their support to the BJP. We believe originally 5 pledged their support to the BJP. There are others today as well. An independent MLA walked into Devendra Fadnavis' residence who had earlier pledged her support to the Shiv Sena. So the BJP is working out the numbers at the moment and is waiting for Eknath Shinde to cross the 37 mark, and comfortably at that, before they go for the kill in any manner possible. They would like to form government. They would like to go in for 2.5 years of governance. I do not hear much from the BJP camp as to them being ready to go into fresh polls at the moment. So they would like to be able to form government, and that is what they're working at the moment. But something which they have in terms of it being absolutely solid, they do not want the embarrassment of 2019 when Devendra Fadnavis was sworn in as Chief Minister for 3 days in total.
The bitter lessons of 2019 for all sides. First with what happened with Ajit Pawar, then being caught off guard by the BJP and Ajit Pawar, and then finally being able to form the government is all going to weigh on all the stakeholders who are now holding ropes at both ends of the country, in Mumbai and in Guwahati right now. Let's not kid ourselves. The BJP is the force behind what's taking place right now. They may not say that they are, they may say that this is a wait and watch policy, but this is heading towards a BJP-led government in Maharashtra once again. Let's also not forget that the BJP was the single largest party in the 2019 election, which is why they see the entire Mahavikas Aghadi of these 3 smaller parties as a betrayal, especially since the Shiv Sena had fought that election along with the BJP as allies. Words that has been playing out, intensifying and escalating right through today between Uddhav Thackeray and the rebel Sena that's sitting in Guwahati. This is a war of words that has gotten very, very ugly, but it has escalated quite dramatically, and let's show you how it's happened. Uddhav Thackeray first said that when he moved, I'm moving out of Varsha, he said in a very emotional claim. He said, I'm feeling betrayed by my own people. But the reply came, why are we being humiliated? We are the ones who are being humiliated, says the Eknath Shinde clan. Let Shinde come and talk, says Uddhav Thackeray. I'm the boss, come and talk to me. He says, didn't have access to the Mantralaya all this while. Now you are suddenly saying, come and talk to us, when the crisis has hit the fan. not interested in power, says Uddhav Thackeray. Where have we heard that before? Eknath Shinde says, we were elected by 3 to 4 lakh people. What do you mean by not interested in power? Then you've got Uddhav Thackeray, who said Hindutva is in the Shiv Sena's soul. The Eknath Shinde faction, which has been trending Hindutva forever on social media, says we weren't allowed to visit Ayodhya even when your own son Aditya Thackeray went to Ayodhya. Why were we not allowed to go to Ayodhya? So this is a situation that is going to continue to escalate. It's day 3 since this story was broken, and it has shown no signs of calming down. One way or the other, it's going to be endgame. Is it going to be endgame Uddhav or endgame Shinde is the big question. But if you're looking at the numbers most brutally, the endgame appears to be Uddhav's. The question is, when is it going to happen and in what form? Our coverage continues on the other side of this very short break. Remember those numbers. Coming right back.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com or call 9999892171. Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
이번에 경남의 총리서원께서는 장기간의 이제 8기 어터전에서 인민들의 생활상용을 기준으로 내세우고 생산투쟁을 돌리기 위한 이런 가업도 있었습니다. 그래서 우리 공장에서는 인민들이 좋아하는 이런 샴푸, 그다음에
체레 비사망 체계에 맞게 소독 사업을 제일 순위에 놓고 진행하고 있습니다. 특히 인민소비품을 생산하는 공장으로서 바닥 소독과 기대들에 대한 소독 사업을 그 어느 때보다 더 강화하고 있습니다.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
In a shocking turn of events, a 3,400-year-old ancient city with a palace and large buildings has resurfaced in Iraq. A similar discovery was also recently made in Haryana's Rakhigadi village, giving insight into the 5,000-year-old Harappan site. A team of German and Kurdish archaeologists has uncovered the city in Iraq, which is believed to have been an important power center from the Mitanni Empire era. The city was submerged decades ago. Iraq is one of the countries in the world most affected by climate change. The settlement emerged from the waters of the Mosul Reservoir early this year as water levels fell rapidly due to extreme drought in Iraq. Researchers succeeded in largely mapping the city, finding a palace. Several large buildings were also uncovered. A massive fortification with walls and towers and an industrial complex was also found. The research team was stunned by the well-preserved state of the walls, sometimes to a height of even several meters. Despite the fact that the walls are made of sun-dried mud bricks and were underwater for more than 40 years. This good preservation is due to the fact that the city was destroyed in an earthquake around 1350 BC, during which the collapsing upper parts of the walls buried the buildings. The discovery of 5 ceramic vessels that contained an archive of over 100 cuneiform tablets stunned the researchers. Cuneiform tablets were logosyllabic scripts used to write several languages during the Bronze Age. To avert further damage to the important site by the rising water, the excavated buildings were completely covered with tight-fitting plastic sheeting.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. You
Я думаю, що втрати будуть великі. По-перше, це втрати по врожайності. По-друге, це баланс втрати по грошах, бо сьогодні немає експорту, немає куди вивозити, немає реалізації зерна саме. І це дуже скажеться на всіх подальших, адже для того, щоб але зараз, по-перше, не можна здати зерно, немає таких коштів, щоб це робити. І, по-друге, спеціалісти, які зазвичай це роблять, не базуються в Миколаївській області. І ми дуже недалеко від зони обстрілів, і тому доволі таки нема бажаючих їхати.
Co-powered by introducing Motorola Edge 30. Co-powered by Philips Beard Trimmer. Adapts to you. In association with LIC हर पल आपके साथ. Apollo 24/7. Download now. Netmeds, India की अपनी pharmacy. SBI pre-approved personal loan in just 4 clicks. JioMart, हर घर का मार्ट.
Shinde Sena is locked, loaded and leading. And Uddhav Sena, meanwhile, is in a free fall. Up tak 42 for the Shinde Shiv Sena. But the question will be, Mumbai ka king hai kaun? Top focus at 6 p.m. prime. Up tak 42 for the Shiv Sena led by Eknath Shinde, but the number is only increasing, and we have a big breaking news now coming in that the Shinde Sena numbers continue beyond 42 because now 2 more MLAs have landed in Guwahati. 2 more members of Legislative Assembly will be now sitting with the group that you see here led by Eknath Shinde. So who are the 2 MLAs? Dada Bhuse and Sanjay Rathore have reached Guwahati from Mumbai. Sena MLC Ravindra Pathak accompanying these 2 MLAs, but here where there is the biggest twist and turn that you are getting updated with at 6 p.m. prime. One of these men who have reached Guwahati from Mumbai were actually a messenger from Uddhav Thackeray. They were initially deployed to placate the rebel MLAs. Today, they have joined the Shinde Sena, landed in Guwahati. Is this endgame, Uddhav, that we are looking at? Let's go across directly to Mumbai. My colleague Mausami Singh tracking all the latest on that. You are outside Mausami, Uddhav Thackeray's ancestral home residence, Matoshree, where he has moved now with his family. And 2 more MLAs go and join Guwahati camp. But what exactly is happening? Because now it appears Uddhav Thackeray and free fall of all his netas one by one.
Absolutely, Pooja. You know, time has really run out for the MVA government here with the entire flock of Shiv Sena literally now housed in Guwahati, except about 12 MLAs that are with the Sena. So this is really a troublesome time for Uddhav Thackeray as it was a litmus test of his prowess as a politician. And here you can see that despite the fact that a 24-hour ultimatum was issued today to the MLAs, the Eknath Shinde camp is absolutely bolstered by the fact that MLAs after MLAs are joining. Let me show you the pictures of where we are, Pooja. We've just shifted from Matoshree to Sahyadri guest house, and this is where the Congress leaders are meeting. The Congress leaders are holding a meeting right here. They are the third party in this entire alliance, and remember that Shiv Sena MLAs have actually blamed the alliance for their for the step that they were forced to take. They are not happy with the alliance with the Congress and the NCP. So here, Balasaheb Thorat, Nana Patole and all the bigwigs in Mumbai are meeting here to consider.
So Mausami Singh tracking there, the Congress huddle that is on, and that's not it. Stay on with me, Mausami, because remember, Congress and NCP can really just watch and decide what to do next for them. For now, the NCP and the Supremo there, Sharad Pawar, also have held an emergency meeting that in Mumbai, and this has been chaired by Sharad Pawar. What sources in NCP are telling India Today now that the NCP is discussing 3 categorical issues here. Keep a watch over the situation closely, take an appropriate call later, or there could be another scenario, fight along with the Shiv Sena and as it stands, Sena that of Uddhav Thackeray, and get back the dissident MLAs. But the bigger question, remember, can they only sit to wait and watch? Can they only stand by Uddhav Thackeray right now, who's losing out all the numbers, or pull out of the Mahavikas Aghadi government alliance and that specifically after Sanjay Raut's statement and looking at the political situation in the state. Could the NCP dump the Uddhav Thackeray Shiv Sena right away before the Shiv Sena decides to take a call? Because all of this presently is being discussed within the meeting. Three scenarios, whether to just keep a watch right now. Remember, Sharad Pawar has spoken to Uddhav Thackeray yesterday. Do they stand by Uddhav Thackeray right now and try to get dissident MLAs? Does not look like so, because if Uddhav Thackeray, Aditya Thackeray, Sanjay Raut, all the top leaders of Shiv Sena have failed, can the NCP bring back the rebel MLAs? And then, whether should they even continue in the alliance as of now? Because given the situation, Shinde one by one is boasting about maximum MLAs on his side. Mausami Singh on one side tracking all the latest from Congress, NCP, while Polami, who's right now in Guwahati, tracking the rebel MLAs, the Bharatiya Janata Party's plan of action, and what does it look like for Uddhav Thackeray. Let's go across first to you, Mausami, and then I'll quickly go to Polami as well. So at this point, both the Congress and the NCP are also closely mulling, because the numbers are being boasted by none other than Eknath Shinde, who till a few days ago was an important person, but today could be the next big Sena Neta.
Absolutely, Pooja. You know, with the fact that the Eknath Shinde camp has been targeting the NCP and the Congress, the meeting, there is a buzz behind me, the meeting perhaps about to get over, but let's wait and watch. In the meanwhile, you know, the NCP and the Congress have been treading very cautiously all the time, reiterating that they are, there you can see that Ashok Chavan is right there.
Okay.
So they are reiterating that they are very much with the Shiv Sena. It is Shiv Sena's internal matter. They are backing Uddhav Thackeray, and you know, the diktat has come right from Delhi with Mallikarjun Kharge saying that that the Congress will be with the alliance. They are with whatever step Uddhav Thackeray takes, and it is the BJP that's trying to destabilize the government. Let's try and get in a reaction from Ashok Chavan as he comes out of this Sahyadri guest house, even as Bala Sahab Thorat, Prithvi Raj Chavan and all the other Congress leaders, including Nana Patole, Nitin Raut, are inside. We'll try and get a sense from the former Chief Minister of what's actually transpiring.
Stay on with me, Mausami, because from the NCP, I'm now joined by Majid Memon is joining me on this live telecast. Sir, how is the NCP, do you think, should be looking at this? Should they really wait and watch? Is there no other option? Because can they really get back the rebel MLAs while Uddhav Thackeray has moved back to Matoshree, Mr. Memon?
The NCP leader Sharad Pawar is a fairly mature, experienced veteran who has head-on faced such situations in the past 30-40 years. So this is nothing new for him. He is, I think, the best person among all the political leaders belonging to various constituents of the MVA. So I think he is taking a very cautious stand and is trying to see if the fire could be extinguished to the best of our ability. We are, not interfering into internal affairs of Shiv Sena. But as far as MVA is concerned, the only thing which I personally feel, which I have tweeted, that if Shinde and company feel that there is a departure in behavior of Uddhav Thackeray as far as Hindutva is concerned, then why were they quiet for 2.5 years, almost more than 2 years? And ironically, they are making this kind of an allegation without any substance, without any base, more particularly when Aditya just visited Ayodhya. So it's very strange. How do they explain it? It means that there is something undercurrent operating, and for which probably BJP people are backing it up, it seems.
Are you saying, Mr. Memon, could this be a fixed match between the BJP and the Shiv Sena, Uddhav Thackeray included?
No. See, Uddhav Thackeray has been betrayed by Shinde and his followers, and it has come as a surprise to him. And therefore, Sharad Pawar had already said that we stand with our Chief Minister. But then it is for the Chief Minister who also happens to be the chief of his party, to keep his herd together. It is for them. We can't interfere into that.
Mr. Majid Memon, what do you think the NCP would be doing at this point? Could the NCP decide to pull out of the alliance, or they will want any such decision, if at all, comes of Uddhav Thackeray resigning or the coalition perhaps falling out, as it appears from these numbers, waiting for either Sanjay Raut, Uddhav Thackeray or an official confirmation to come? Could the NCP be the first to pull the plug?
What NCP would do would depend upon what the Honorable NCP Chief, Shri Sharad Pawar, will decide. There can't be any two opinion, there can't be any difference of opinion, there can't be any departure from what the NCP Chief would say. It's a disciplined lot. Whatever Sharad Pawar ji will decide would be followed by NCP, and I am sure that even Congress would follow. They know the weight of Sharad Pawar's opinion in such crises.
So why have you said, as you've put on social media as well, that for 2 years, these rebel MLAs who are on our screens right now, more than 40, the number is only increasing, did have no problems officially about either the Hindutva ideology or Uddhav Thackeray, meet Aditya Thackeray in Ayodhya, and suddenly these allegations are coming up?
The excuse that is put up by Shinde does not seem to be reasonably and logically acceptable. Because for 2.5 years, everything was fine. Suddenly, this is certainly an indication of some undercurrent operating. Somebody else from outside is pushing him. And we did not name them. It is very obvious.
Do you buy this allegation, sir, which all these rebel MLAs have said? Even the resolution letter states that they were always not in favor of the alliance with the NCP and the Congress.
No, see, as far as the functioning of MBA is concerned, for the past 2 years, it was absolutely smooth. There were no inter-se quibblings. There were no grievances among the 3 constituents of MBA. And suddenly, within the party, there is a revolt because they don't like certain people from Thackeray group, and then there is another group. So that is their internal matter.
Very interesting what you're telling us. Mr. Majid Memon is a former parliamentarian. He's also a top NCP neta, and he's saying that, we'll wait and watch because that's precisely what NCP can do. But he's also saying, how are these allegations suddenly cropping up from the rebel camp, and is hinting, of course, at the BJP hand here. Let's go across to our reporters on the ground. Our senior executive editor, Sahil Joshi, joins me from Mumbai. Vidya also live outside Uddhav Thackeray's residence, Matoshree. Poulomi Saha is outside the Radisson Blue Hotel in Guwahati, and we'll be soon joined by Mausami Singh as well. Sahil, over to you first. NCP in a huddle, the Congress party is in a huddle, but that's what they can do with the numbers increasing for Shinde ki Sena.
Well, what it seems now is that many NCP ministers and senior leaders are basically saying, that somebody is taking them for a ride. Sanjay Raut making a statement to the rebel Shiv Sena MLAs saying that come back, we'll leave MVA, but you come back and talk to us, face to face. NCP is saying that is what we were planning to do in 2019. We didn't do it. We went ahead with Sena and the Congress to form the MVA, and now we are at the place where we will be sitting in the opposition, and Shiv Sena flock will come together tomorrow and form the government with the BJP. That will be taking them for a ride. Rather than that, let's just get out of the MVA, let Sena handle its issue and do something of our own. And that is something which is being discussed in the